Evening, everyone. This is the Conservation Commission meeting. It's Thursday, March 27th, 2025. Our commissioners in attendance this evening: Jenna Maya as member, George Bacon as member, Jessica Gino, member clerk, Mark Phillips, vice chair, Heather Hampson, conservation agent, and myself, John Schmallenberger, as chair. Confirmation of agenda? Any changes?
I have no changes, so I can't find my copy. I have no changes.
Motion to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Passes unanimously. Next item is the approval of the meeting minutes for March 13th, 2025. Any corrections? Besides one minor one?
I thought you weren't going to bring
I gotta bring it up.
What page is it on?
I don't know.
What did I do? I might have made a little typo.
No biscuits for you.
Minuscule. Oh, no, I can't even find it. It was the word in, but you had spelled it I-N-N,
Oh,
which is very picky uni, but it happens so rarely with you that
maybe
You'll
I
find
was
it.
thinking about it in a restful way.
Maybe.
And
it was in the,
well, I can easily find it in a search.
it's on page 2. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullets down. Talking about the chalk. And it's visually jarring in the natural setting.
No, because it was a visually jarring in
So you're saying it's
the
correct?
natural setting. No.
Okay. Motion to approve the minutes, meeting minutes for March 13th, 2025, as slightly corrected.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
So Heather, I'll send you.
Unanimously.
I mean, I can fix it. I can fix it.
Oh,
I got 2 of those.
That's fine. I have to fix it anyway and print it, so it's okay.
Public input. Time of our meeting. If there's anyone out there who's not on our agenda who has something they would like to add to the meeting, a question or a comment, now's the time. Okay. And we shall move on. Our first item this evening is a public hearing, notice of intent. We will open under the Wetland Protection Act and also under the Ayer Wetlands Bylaw. Aho Development Corp., Lot 4, Pine Street. Would you please join us?
It's somewhere or somewhere else.
Oh, Heather, I think I gave you the wrong one.
I gave you the right one.
Oh no, but I gave you my copy, I think.
No, but I gave you the one that was not double-sided because it's easier to scan.
Oh, so this is my copy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Never mind.
State your name, please, for
Good evening, Brandon
record.
Ducharme with David E. Ross, also here with Josiah with Aho Development. And as you said, we filed a notice of intent for construction of a home on Lot 4, Pine Street. And I'll just do a quick overview of kind of the larger scale of the project, and then we'll talk about the notice of intent. So the property that we're working on is 15 3rd Street. This is 3rd Street here. There's a paper street, which is Pine Street. Pine Street extends on this side, which is improved. There's a paper street that comes down. This is 4th Street, which is another paper street, which heads towards cul-de-sac end of Shelley Lane. And then we've got Grove Pond down here at the back of the lot. So there is 2 existing homes on the property now. It's about 1.5 acres in size. And what we're looking to do is to subdivide the property through the A&R process. These are two separate dwellings here, so through the 81L, which is part of the subdivision control, we're subdividing these two homes to separate them, and then we're creating two new lots, which we're calling lots 3 and lots 4. It's in the A2 zoning district, so for a single family home, we're looking at needing a lot with 12,000 square feet, and in the back here we're proposing a duplex which requires 24,000 square feet. So we've been working with the town, with the planner and with DPW. There's a few of these paper streets in existence throughout the town, but also specifically in this area, and working with them to improve these, to develop some of these parcels of property that are located just beyond 3rd Street between there and Grove. So in working with DPW, we've got an existing 30-foot wide right-of-way that comes down, and then as I mentioned, there's another right-of-way for what's called 4th Street here. We're going to improve this with a 20-foot wide paved right-of-way that goes down, and we've provided a turning access there for a fire truck, for fire and safety. And then one of the requirements with DEP was to do drainage. The project itself is actually below the threshold of stormwater, but they wanted us to go ahead and manage the stormwater there. So we've done that, and all that design is in accordance with the stormwater management policy. As we look specifically, this is lot 4 that we filed the notice of intent for. We've got Grove Pond here in the back, as I said. This red line here is the limit of the 100-foot buffer zone. This other dashed red line would be the 50-foot wetland setback. There's an existing sewer easement that runs through the back of the property here. There's a manhole here, and there's another manhole kind of behind Shelley Lane. There's an existing access road kind of on top of it. And what we've done is we've situated the duplex pretty much on the front setback, because 4th Street is a town right-of-way, even though it's not improved. We've got a front setback requirement to that lot line there. So we have the proposed duplex here, and then in order to accommodate the drainage, we've kind of pitched the road, to the downward side of the plan here. We've got a couple catch basins to a manhole that go to a stormwater treatment unit that'll polish the stormwater and then deposit it into this as an infiltration basin that we've designed here. We've designed everything to be outside of the 50-foot. The other thing, this line here in blue designates the limit of the 100-year floodplain, and we were able to keep all the proposed grading beyond that, so we don't have any compensatory flood storage or any issue with that. Talking about, there's obviously sewer, water, and gas out here in 3rd Street. We've provided, again, working with the DPW, extending this water main down. We proposed a hydrant here. And then also, gas could basically come right off 3rd Street down to the back here to provide that utility to the town. This sewer line in the back was the preferable means to tie into sewer with the DPW. So what we've shown is we've got sewer coming out of this proposed house, out of this proposed duplex to a manhole, and then we're proposing to tie into the existing, there's a 12-inch sanitary sewer there in the back of the lot. And that's the only area where we go a couple feet into that 50-foot setback, just in order to access the existing sewer line. But once that connection's made, obviously the grades will be restored to pre-existing conditions. There is an ACEC on the property, which is just kind of this back edge here, just kind of beyond the limit of work. Other than that, I think that's a pretty good overview. Open up to questions.
Pine Street right now is not paved.
It is not paved, no.
So you're proposing to do it?
Yes.
Because it's a paper road, in order to develop anything beyond where it's existing, they have to bring it to subdivision standards.
And the town will take it over then?
Yeah,
That
I
will
guess,
come under the planning board purview when they do that part of it.
yeah, so what we've done is we've filed initially with you folks, and then we're preparing to submit for the stormwater permit as well as site plan approval, and the A&R with the planning board.
Is it for the construction for both units at the same time? For the single family home and the duplex?
Yeah, the intent is to do them at the
Yeah,
same
do
time,
them both at the same time.
Questions, George?
Is the town gonna manage the infiltration basin?
So it is a town right-of-way. I mean, obviously, that's gonna be a discussion with the planning board in terms of, you know, who's gonna maintain that. I mean, there's two ways you could do it. I mean, obviously, as in any town right-of-way, similar to what we did further up Third Street there, there's a detention basin that's gonna be maintained by the town. Most likely, I could see this being maintained by the town. The other option would be to have like a private way where there's the homeowners maintain it. But I don't think in this situation that that's going to be feasible, because there are other parcels of property that could potentially use this road once it's improved. So it's going to serve, or it has the potential to serve, more than just these homes. 4th Street, for instance, continues down, kind of parallel to 3rd Street there, and there's a couple other parcels that could potentially be developed down there.
Questions, Heather?
So I just have a couple. First of all, in regards to your notice of intent application, you do not list BVW as on the application itself, but you list it in the narrative as falling under that. There's BVW on the project, on the site. So because we don't have DPW comments yet, they will probably DEP comments yet. They will call that out. So you just might want to just verify that. The ACEC isn't marked on the plan, but from what I can tell from looking at the overlay, does it follow the floodplain, the 100-foot?
It's just beyond it. So again, all we did was overlay the map, and it kind of cuts right around the buffer zone
I'm
here.
just wondering where the ACEC
And it
is.
extends.
Does it follow
Yep.
the 50-foot, or does it follow the floodplain?
So it's actually on this side of both of those. So it kind of starts here and comes right down the back side of the basin here.
Okay. Just so you guys know, that the ACEC is the area of environmental concern, so that there's that on the property. We do make sure we're verifying that. And the only other item on there is the 50-foot no disturb. Per our regulations, it does not call out sewer connection as an allowable item. It falls under the minor activities. And unfortunately, because this is a undisturbed lot, it does not appear to be considered a minor activity. The only item that's listed for sewer connection is under 2.02BJ items. It says the installation and repair of underground sewer lines within existing paved or unpaved roadways. This is a non-existing roadway. I don't know what the existing site looks like, if it needs to be cleared or not. So I don't see if this is an allowable item under the 50-foot no disturb area.
How,
Our regulations.
how far into the 50 does it go?
2 or 3 feet.
And in the waivers, it doesn't call out that this is something that can be waived under the regulations. So it's something that would have to be, I don't know if we'd have to get town council involved to verify that, or what. Because it doesn't appear to be how the regulations are written to be something that can be waivable under the Conservation Commission's regulations.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing in reading it, just with that pavement section,
Mhm.
you know.
It needs to be paved or an unpaved existing roadway, and it's not. I had the brief discussion in regards to this, in regards with the planner and town engineer Matt. And you said there's water and sewer in Third Street.
Yeah, so, I mean, because initially we thought would maybe connect up here, it would require pumps, like E1 pumps, but during that meeting we had this past summer, you know, they preferred we connect there, but there's certainly an option, you know, we could do
And
ejector
they just
pumps.
paved Third Street last summer, so
Is it,
that's the reason why they didn't
Yeah.
want us to go
I mean,
into Third
again, I said I had
Street.
this, I had this comment with,
I understand with both of those, but that's why they didn't do less disturbance of the brand new roadway. So they were gonna go that way, but
So who is the they that preferred this area?
DPW.
What would you say is the margin of error between where the sewer literally is and the 50-foot measurement? Are we plus or minus 2 feet on each? Like, is it kind
I
of one
would
of those?
say, yeah, I mean, it's, well, we located this manhole, so that's exact, and then, you know, going through to the back, I mean, that's record information based on that, so it's pretty accurate, yeah.
Okay, but then the 50-foot.
Yeah, 50 foot. So this is what we're talking about, just that little,
yeah, it's
little
a
tick.
minuscule amount,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where it doesn't seem to be allowed under our regulations to be an item that we can do a waiver for.
Well, we didn't have to have a public hearing though for the regulations.
Regulations have to have a public hearing. It's not town meeting.
Not town meeting. Okay, we did, yeah, okay, but I don't, well, would we have to go through town council?
Yes. It would be my suggestion, whether it has to be done or not, I don't know. That's just the only that pops up on this one. We've had other items that have come in before the commission in regards to the 50-foot, but they're previously disturbed areas. So they're existing lawns that are looking for decks and stuff like that that are expanding it, but it's already existing disturbed area. This is a non-developed lot that we're looking to put this in. So I don't know what the extent of work that needs to be done to tie in the sewer, if it's something that's directional drilling, that we're just going underground and not doing any land disturb. I think all those details would have to be worked out to figure that whole part in, and then see if town council would have to chime in on that.
What would be the alternative to that?
The alternative would be, I think, to tie into Third Street. I don't even think if we move the house, it would cause any difference on that. And then we're still waiting for DEP to send their comments in regards to the ACEC as well, because those items are looked into a little bit further as far as work being done in those sites.
Are the existing homes tied into the sewer on Third already?
Yes. Sewer connection.
And on a conservation standpoint, I would rather see more houses going in the sewer line away from the pond as to sewer.
Yeah.
Obviously, that sewer line, I don't know how old it is, knowing that Grove Pond was developed due to a dam. Plowshot Pond, whether that sewer line existed before or after that, to have everything connect away from the pond would be, on a conservation standpoint, my preference.
Or is that going to and or from? Is it
That
going
sewer
down
line
Third
goes all the way
Street?
to Third Street, all the way down to the end of Marshall Street. If you remember when we did that site visit.
So it starts
Which way
at
is the
Marshall.
flow, I guess, is what I'm
Starts
getting
at Marshall and it's heading this way. It's heading towards the treatment plant. From the
Okay.
pond, everything is heading back this way.
And the same thing with this, there's nothing, this doesn't connect to this over here, I guess is what I'm saying.
I don't know where
I don't know if it connects, if they all connect.
I don't know where Third Street connects.
Is it possible to move this connection, which would be on the other side, but this is still the sewer line, correct?
Yeah, I mean,
Where's
That's
this
what you're
wall?
pointing to, right?
yeah, technically, I mean, it looks like
We
it's,
could move
it's
up,
right
move
on.
up further.
And maybe not.
Yeah,
be there
or not
is, I
being
guess,
that
what I'm
50 foot,
thinking.
yeah,
Yeah.
to try to keep, just because I don't know if it's allowable under the,
Judgment call, like how close is it kind of
Yeah.
deal, you know? But
I know, it's just saying, it's one of those things where it's like 2 to 3 feet, it's like, you know, yeah, it's literally like, it's like
I'm
this,
thinking maybe
but
if you were to get
it's
closer
not-
to the edge of the lot line, maybe it's like that, who knows?
but we're looking at an existing unvegetated, vegetated lot to then tie in and clear out, so that's where it falls in that 50 foot no disturb, like, then you're doing disturbance. So if we could move it or connect another way.
How old is that sewer line? Anyone, you have a sense?
It's old, but they just relined it, not last year, but the year before. So it's all relined and it's, I can't remember what the sewer department told me, but it's good for a long time. They relined that whole run 2 years ago, I believe. Could be more, could be off on my dates, but I know they did reline it all.
And then with the new floodplain maps coming out too, I know on Marshall Street, those lots, the line did change slightly when those maps get published, I think in June. I don't know about these lots. Now that, we can't base it on that now, but.
Sure. Right.
Just saying in the future.
And the alternative is to pump.
Yeah, which is never the sewer department's purview. They rather not,
Right.
they rather do gravity than pump.
Oh, yeah. Gravity doesn't fail.
So just to clarify, if it was closer to Grove Pond, that's gravity? If it's
No.
on Third, okay.
Oh,
Yes.
if it's,
And on
yeah,
Third
yes.
Street
Whole
is
site
pump.
slopes
Slopes
down to
towards
the
Grove Pond.
pond, yeah.
Anything else, Heather?
That is the only thing that I saw so far. I'm reviewing the plans this afternoon real quick, because we're still waiting for DEP's comments. Danny, the town planner, Danny Ruiz, wanted them to come to conservation first before they went to planning board for their side, just because of that 50-foot no disturb item. So they still have to file with planning board for, one, the A&R, two, the site plan for the lots and the stormwater. So there's other items in effect. Ours is the first one in regards to that no disturb. We had to make that determination, but they have those items as well. As you remember, typically we like to, when we did like Stratton Hill, we won't close our hearing until the planning board's at least had one for the stormwater to make sure there's no comments from the planning board or the town engineer in regards to the stormwater permit. So this is just the first step in a multiple step for this site.
Any questions, Jen? Jess?
You should take a site walk.
If you ended up having to do the pump, would it be something like break both of those sewer lines over here, just like a single pump this way, or?
Those E1 pumps, usually we'd have one for each unit.
Yep.
So a pump here. I'm just not one here,
And then
one in this front yard. They all tie into one force main up into the sewer street.
And in regards to the pumps, when we're looking at subdivisions like Curly Circle, every single one of those lots has an E1 pump. There's multiple subdivisions that have gone in town that the planning board has approved that have pump systems. I believe there's a couple lots on Stratton Hill that have the same thing. So it's not something that the
Shaker Pond
DPW.
Road,
Yeah.
every one of them on Shaker
Yeah,
Pond Road has them.
they
I'm
don't
not,
disapprove
I'm
of
familiar with
them.
them.
It's
they're a
ma-
good pump.
Yeah, there's
Um,
additional maintenance for the residents. The DPW prefers one or the other. So
Yeah.
just so you know, it's not something we haven't done already before in previous permits. It's something for you guys to think about.
Anything else?
Would it be possible to, you said you found the manhole over here.
Yes.
Can we trace that out all the way across the property? Or at least at that back corner? You just like dig safe, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
spray it in,
easier-
let's just confirm.
We may even have it, but, so we located this manhole, and we might have the location, but otherwise we just have to locate the other manhole. It's a straight shot between,
Right.
and there's an easement that this runs within, that runs
Yeah.
all along.
And like I said, I'd just be interested to know, because trust me,
Right.
we've found many things that are not quite exactly
No,
what people
quite what
say.
they want.
they
I mean,
are.
it was just, we know we were here for Third Street and that sewer easement, this sewer line wasn't actually recorded or on those lots, right? So like, we all know there's issues when it comes to older ones in town, and this is one of them, so.
Yeah, I mean, that manhole at the far end being off back just a couple feet, that can be a pretty dramatic shift, So, could work to your benefit, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know exactly, so. Save having to put the pumps in. Anything else? Site walk?
Like I said, the planning board is meeting, they haven't filed with the planning board yet, so this would be at least until April 8th, if not later, before the planning board for anything. I mean, we still haven't done the A&Rs yet. Do you have any idea when you're gonna be filing with the planning board? Because we won't close until the planning board at least holds a hearing on it.
Yeah, we have everything ready to go, so,
Okay.
like, Danny wanted us to come here
Yeah, no, we wanted to come here
before,
first,
so-
yeah.
so
So
I'm
we
ready to
won't, we wouldn't
file-
close on anything
yeah.
until the planning board is met. And I'm only saying this because the weather doesn't look great for Saturday morning. I already have to do foraging day in the afternoon, the pocket forest, so I just didn't wanna push the site visit on something that would be continued until probably at least the second meeting in April anyway. So,
Time flies.
so just so you guys have an idea of how we're going on, you know,
Yep,
where the
yep.
where the timeline on this project is gonna look.
What would be people's preference? Not counting the weather. I mean, can never count on the weather. It's gonna rain on Saturday.
So just so you
We
know.
haven't melted yet, right?
So just so you know, so if anything, they would have the A&R for this on the planning board agenda for the 8th, and then possibly the first hearing for the site plan and stormwater on the 22nd of April. We would meet on the 10th and 24th of April.
So if we don't meet this Saturday, the following Saturday,
5th, yep.
Jess cannot be there.
Right.
I'm not sure I can be there.
But we would most likely end up being continuing this until the 24th anyway, so that would give us the 12th and 19th as well, for Saturdays.
Okay with those dates? Any one of those? You wanna do the 12th? April 12th? What's that?
Or this Saturday, doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter to
No.
me either. I don't
Sure, 12?
So Jen is just back from, which means I wanna do it even earlier.
They're ahead.
Brought the rain back.
Yeah, they're ahead of us.
I guess the only question I would have is, do we need to have anything
Yes.
mapped out on site?
If
So
you speak,
that's the
in my opinion, I would have items staked just because it would save you time for when the planning board does theirs, you'd already have it out there. Cause the planning board's gonna ask for the same thing when they schedule their site visit. So I would say the corners of the house, I don't know what you guys wanna do. Obviously have the 50-foot marked at some point, especially where the sewer connection is. And I don't know what you wanna say for the stormwater system, if you just want a center point, or if you wanna have what do you want for the stormwater system? Cause both, that is within the 100 foot as well.
It's basically a circular.
Yeah, it's an oval for the most part. Yeah, I was saying like a kidney shape, but like the corners of the house obviously help.
Yeah.
The sewer connection would help, but I don't know what you wanna do for the stormwater.
Yeah, where you're gonna be disturbing in the 100-foot for sure, so if you can somehow kind of lay out the perimeter, let's say, of the basin, and then, like I said, up in the upper corner, to the extent that you can get the sewer main, you know, for, I don't know, what, 20 feet from the property line back, kind of marked, and just confirm that the 50-foot is marked there, that would be good. At least for me, I don't know what you need.
Yep, that'd be plenty, I think. 9 o'clock?
The 100-foot's already marked? Because it's cutting right through the building, right through the house. Duplex. Is it somewhat marked?
And just park on 3rd Street?
You can park right at 15 3rd Street. Driveway's big.
Okay.
We own that property, so you can park right in the driveway or on the road by it.
Okay.
I'll send a reminder out as it gets closer. Well, yeah, if you will have a meeting right before too, yeah.
So that's the 12th.
The 12th, yeah, at 9,
Sorry, you said to park where? At
15 Third?
Yeah, it's a big driveway, so you can park there or on the road in front of 15.
We pick a time.
9.
9 a.m. Anything else?
We want to contact town council in the meantime?
Yeah, do you want me to ask town council in regards to the 50-foot no disturb? Okay.
Please.
We'll send that request to Robert.
Okay. All righty.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate
See you on the 12th.
Appreciate it.
See you on the 12th.
Oh, yeah, and we have to make a motion to continue.
Yep.
And we're gonna continue to the second meeting in April, which is the 24th.
24th. Motion to continue the public hearing notice of intent, Aho Development Corporation, Lot 4 Pine Street. Hold our meeting on the 24th of April.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Very good. So we're just going to continue the RDA for the META?
Yep. Should be somebody here now.
Oh, you here? Are you here from the? Oh, you are.
I'm here.
Well, please join us. This is exciting. We thought we had to.
No, the last meeting we had to continue, they were gonna be here today.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, we have 100 plus of these, so I have meetings stacked up.
I'll bet.
Shift around a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Have your name, please?
Yeah, I'm Matt Donovan from Benish, here to represent Keolis for
What, Donovan?
Donovan. Yeah. Here we're representing Keolis for the RDA to confirm the accuracy of the maps used for Riverside application along the commuter rail right-of-way. The RDA is submitted to your commission every 5 years, required by CMR 11. And it's required to get these determinations before we submit our 5-year vegetation management plan, Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources. The vegetation management plan is designed to manage and control vegetation necessary to keep the railroad in operation safe, and regulations are in place to keep the sensitive areas protected through the duration of the plan. These sensitive area restrictions are found and described in CMR 11.04, as well as our vegetation management plan. The maps we provide you with are mainly made for the chemical portion of the plan, but often dictate where mechanical methods will be used due to the chemical restrictions. There are 2 main chemical applications each year, one in the May-June timeframe that targets the roadbed, and one in the August-September timeframe that targets the brush in the areas adjacent to the roadbed. The sensitive areas that are marked with blue and yellow on the maps are restricted from the brush program and only receive the roadbed application. So that's what I'll focus on, because that's the only chemical application happening in these sensitive areas of your jurisdiction. However, if you do have any questions about the brush program that happens in the non-restrictive areas, I'm happy to answer any of those.
You can sit if you'd like. You don't have to stay.
I've been sitting all day.
You've been sitting. Okay. All right.
So the roadbed application is performed by a spray truck that drives on the track and is equipped with nozzles on the backside of the track located about 18 inches above the ground and spraying the solution directly down. There are nozzles on arms that target the shoulders of the roadbed up to 12 feet from the center line of the track on each side. The certified applicator is always accompanied by an environmental monitor familiar with the site conditions and equipped with these maps, instructing the operator as necessary. The applicator has the ability to turn off the nozzles with the flip of a switch, or in many cases just the side nozzles where it's targeting the shoulder where it may be getting close to the buffer zone of a sensitive area. The yellow zones will never receive the application to the shoulders. However, in many cases will still receive application directly down onto the ties, and that's done at the environmental monitors and applicator's discretion to keep it within the regulations. The blue zones typically receive the full roadbed treatment, and typically represent being between 10 and 100 feet of a sensitive area. they'll receive the full roadbed treatment. However, if there's any like water in the ditches or anything in the field that they should be turning the nozzles off, the environmental monitor is on alert in these blue areas as needed and as required. The dark blue zones, which you do have some in your town, typically represent like a DEP zone or a water supply zone. So the dark blue zones will only receive the roadbed treatment once every 2 years. Like I said, due to the limited, the restricted chemical application in these areas, especially in the areas adjacent to the shoulder or to the roadbed, more effort is put into controlling the vegetation with physical and mechanical measures. Chemicals each year, typically chosen by the certified applicator. They all come from the right-of-way sensitive area material list provided by Mass Department of Agricultural Resources. We do provide the mixture each year in the yearly operational plan that we send to your commission via certified mail, as well as the Board of Health, the Select Board, the Mass Department of Agricultural Resources, and NHESP and water suppliers, and also in the newspaper. Once we do submit the vegetation management plan late summer this year for the 2026 to 2030, your commission will have the opportunity to comment on that. There is a public review process with a public comment period. Comments will be made directly to Mass Department of Agricultural Resources. That covers my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions or go over anywhere on the maps you'd like to ask about. We are seeking a positive 2A determination to confirm the maps and a negative determination for the work included in the vegetation management plan.
Say that one more time.
Yeah.
So a positive to
2A.
the whole thing, or just
No, the whole thing. Yeah, please.
Just a positive.
So I have it in front of me, if it helps you.
Yes, it would.
So positive 2A, the boundary delineations for the following resource area described on the reference plans are confirmed as accurate. Therefore, the resource area boundaries confirmed in this determination are binding as to all decisions rendered pursuant to the Wetlands Protection Act and its regulations regarding such boundaries for as long as the determination is valid. So it's basically validating the plans that are submitted. And then the positive, which was what?
the negative.
The negative,
I
I'm sorry.
believe your commission issued a -2.
Negative 2.
last
The work described in the request is within the area of subject protection under the Act, but will not remove, fill, dredge, or alter that area. Therefore, the work does not require the filing of a notice of intent.
We get all sorts of different negative determinations, -2, -3, -5.
Yeah.
But I do believe your commission in 2016, you can check that, or in
I
2020.
could check it, I don't have it in front of me.
So you're looking for a -2.
As well as a positive 2A.
Positive 2A. And in regards to the comments from DEP, their comment was to have because the wetland line was done most likely from GIS, to have that verified on site. So that having that positive 2A would basically take the maps as they are shown, what they are, instead of having them validated on site.
How would they do that? Validate them on site?
Whether it be from myself or a designated person from MTA or POS to verify those on the infield sites.
Yeah, and we do that before submitting. We go out and make sure that the markings are down and replace them. They do get scraped up, damaged, or go missing sometimes just from impact or whatever reason. So we make sure before submitting these that they're in place.
Is it like a
They're-
dig safe kind of marking, just like spray painted or whatever? Or?
They're actually like square plastic plates directly screwed into the ties right in the center of between the rails.
Okay.
And they correspond to what these maps are showing.
So it's on the railroad ties themselves.
It's all on the railroad ties themselves, yeah.
With regards to the spraying, and you said the environmental monitor, are they in the vehicle that's spraying with the?
They are.
Okay.
Yes.
I know, like, we often require other developers and stuff to do like turtle sweeps and stuff like that? Like, is that done prior to the spraying, or is we just start driving on the track and just?
Oh, what is what done?
I think you referred to like natural heritage areas or turtles for,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, or just, you know. have
Because, I mean,
the bee
you are
whatever
covering
sitting on the
multiple
side of the
wetlands
road
and everything.
or
Is there
just,
any, in regards to
douse
natural,
it
yeah,
with
natural
whatever.
heritage areas?
We do submit to an HESP, but there is someone, someone from the MBT or Keolis gets talks to the dispatcher, and they're in a truck, like 250 feet in front of the actual spray truck. And then oftentimes they bring a second spray truck. If this one is going to run out, they'll have another one. So there's a lot of times at least 2, if not 3 vehicles, all separated by the 500 to 250 feet, whatever the regulation is. So they are on the radio together. So if there's like people sitting on a bench in the park, they'll say like people coming up on your right.
Just anything in general.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
Especially more the smaller critters that, you know, no one's really looking for, and we're just, like I said, just kind of dousing them. Whatever.
Yeah, to Mark's point, does Natural Heritage issue a permit for this to have a no spray during certain times a year?
They have approved every year. We send it to
Do
them.
you have a certain spray time that you can do and can't do during nesting periods?
I'm not sure if we do or if they just agree with, because when we
I
submit
know
it
you
to
submit your
them,
vegetation plan, would it be listed in
it
that?
has the dates,
Okay.
or the approximate dates of when we're going to be spraying.
Okay.
They're with it. So yeah, I think it all that is probably factored into it.
Do you know how harmful this spray is to little critters?
So the roadbed treatment, like I said, is just 12 feet from the center of track, and that's the only application that's happening in these sensitive areas. That's essentially just the ballasted area of the roadbed. So it's the track, the shoulders, and it's all ballast. It's the actual structural component of the track. So there typically aren't any critters on the ballasted areas. I'm sure it's not great if there are.
I'm like, I've seen evidence in Littleton of a beaver digging under the track. The erosion controls to go across the track from one side of the wetland to the other. So
The when you say ballast, you mean the rocks, the
The
stone?
rock, yeah, the stone.
told them like just move the erosion controls while you're working and then put it back at night.
There are all kinds of studies that the Mass DEP does to
Yeah.
make this
I have extras,
approved
so.
sensitive air material specifically for right-of-ways. I've read some studies mostly about the water and how they make the setbacks and the absorption rate in the soil. I do know it gets absorbed by the soil quickly, and like just like they test the water down like 10 feet away, and it's good.
Within
So
our-
I know there's a lot of studies that you can look up on the DEP and Mass DAR website. But as far as the animal studies, I haven't seen anything about that.
Within our wellhead over near Rigan Road, it is in the 2-year spray zone with a no spray when it comes to the actual river crossing. What? Wagon Road? Wagon
Wagon?
Road, the Spec Pond
Oh.
pump site. That's in the no spray zone, so everything from, Willow Road, Berkshire Boulevard, all that's in the 2-year with a no spray over the culverts. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what Natural Heritage has in theirs in regards to that, because I mean, we say that, you don't serve as a pain, they do.
When you spray those areas, you spray only once every 2 years. That's sufficient to keep it down? Keep it clear?
You'll definitely start to see the grass start growing up in the ballast, which is not ideal, but there's nothing you can do. But yeah, no, it's pretty sufficient because, like I said, I think there is the composition of a track bed. You're supposed to have like a layer of geotextile or some kind of barrier under the ballast, and then a layer of subballast, and then a layer of ballast, and then the ties and the rail. just with any organic matter that falls onto the ballast will eventually start to create organic matter, and weeds and grass will start to pop up.
Yep.
But it's the track conditions are just so good. I do a lot of freight railroading. It's just like foul ballast with mud, and it's just not the class of railroad is just so much better that the ballast is always pretty clean. But if you do let it go for too long, you definitely do start to see grass.
Even with the amount of train traffic we have in town, we still grow.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is there's so much train traffic.
So much train traffic in town. Like constant, all day yesterday. I just can't imagine that it would be any build up if we would wait 2
Thank
years
you.
or longer.
Any other questions?
Going back to the DEP comments, do you get the same comments in every town to field verify?
I mean, that we do field verify beforehand. Yeah, it's generally known that we're going out and keeping the markings in the field up to date and in place. Obviously, if they do get damaged or removed, we'll go back again on a cycle to continue.
When you go to the town, Concom's in the other towns.
They have no. We've never been out. This go around, we haven't gone out with towns, and I think it's just because in the past they've gone out and these maps haven't changed. There's not much new to see for them to go out, so no one has requested to come out. And there is a process to it, just like with the coordinating between several different departments of Keolis, and the FRA, the Federal Railroad Association, requires a RWP, like safety class, to be taken by whoever would be going out. Like I have my RWP card, and it costs money to take the class, and it's just I think it's like a 4-hour class. So it's not easy to schedule, like going out to confirm these areas, but in the past we have. With this go around, we haven't taken anyone out.
Answer your question?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
The difference between the 1 year and the 2 year, did you say it was actually a different spray or just not sprayed?
Same exact program. They'll shut it off every other year. They'll just basically treat the blue zone as a no spray zone every other year. So they have years that I've been in the truck with them before. They're just like, we're spraying double blue this year, or we're not spraying double blue this year. So it's known going into it, and they do that for the whole system. So they'll typically like schedule them for 14 or 15 days to do the entire system, knowing that it's only going to take 10 days, but they have to schedule for rain days. And that's another thing I didn't mention. There are regulations that the applicator needs to follow for weather, rain, and wind, and so they book them for a few extra days, anticipating that they're going to have to cancel a few days due to weather.
I just have one other question looking at the plans. So I'm moving to page 3 of the plan. There's a no spray zone on one side of the track where there's a wetland going across the entire. So I just don't know why the no spray zone isn't taking in effect for both sides of the track and not just one. It crosses over, yeah.
Yeah, so typically when that happens, it's a culvert. And what a lot of the times happens is the culvert is extra long on one side.
Yeah, as someone who's been out on that site because the town recently purchased a piece of property on that side, I know where that stream is, and it comes from there. So if there's a way to like extend that no spray to both sides, because that stream there flows down all the way to Sandy Pond and then into Flanagan Pond.
Okay. I think actually what is happening here is there's a full road that's not a railroad on that side of the track. You know what I mean? So like you could drive a train on one track, but you can also drive a truck.
Yeah,
alongside.
probably,
So-
and that's fine, but that does not change the effect of how that stream goes. Do you know what I'm saying?
It just means the stream's way further than the 10 feet setback away from the track on that side because there's a full road.
It's the only one. have on both sides that has a stream that's crossing it, that just makes me wonder, like, yeah, it may show that now, but we're approving this for 5 years, and is that how it's gonna look in 5 years? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, and I don't think it would be an
Where you
issue
talking?
to. I don't think it would be an issue to have a yellow on the other side, but I do think that there's.
I mean, yeah, there's probably something there now, but if we're approving this for our 5-year plan, to say that that might not change in that 5-year plan, it's just to add in those sprites on both sides of the track, I don't think it's a huge deal.
No, I can do that. So page 3 of 8. Obviously, if we can make a determination with that as a condition, just so we can have it done, I can agree with that.
Sure. That's a different one.
Page 4.
And I'll
3, I'm saying it's 3, this is 4, it's 3,
Oh,
so this
gotcha.
is page 3.
I'll make that change and I'll submit that to you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow or Monday. But we can.
To have a no spray on both sides.
Did you see me like zoom in a little more?
I didn't actually, but I was just looking, I'm like, wait a minute, because there was another one, but I think that's the one that crosses, Central Ave, and that I know is there's actual roadway, and there's another one I think that crosses
The other one
the
makes
West Main
sense
Street
from
Bridge, and the railroad is different than the street, so that's fine.
So where you have 2 tracks like that, do they go on both tracks?
Yeah, there's an inbound and an outbound usually, and a lot of times they'll have the Ayer, the high rail trucks for inspectors, and
There's a couple other ones
a truck,
like
I was
that.
in one today actually, that drives right on the track, so.
The other ones made
you know,
sense though,
running
based
trains
on what you
around,
could
The
see.
other ones make sense based on the,
workers
yeah, like this one,
were
you know, they can bump
either
over here.
Yeah.
maintaining
Yeah,
or
it's
inspecting the
West
track.
Main
So yeah, typically it's inbound and outbound, one on each track, but a lot of times they use it for
That one
high
just
rail
didn't make
trucks or
sense.
general maintenance.
But when you're spraying, do the wands come out on both sides of the truck?
No, so when they're spraying, that's what you mean. Yeah, when you're spraying, they'll go inbound and spray, and then go on the other track and do spray again,
Just
all
on
on the same day.
on the outside.
Yeah, they won't like overlap spraying.
Yeah, that's kind of my question, like.
It would only be in the center of track. Yeah, they wouldn't, depending on how far the tracks are separated, they would know, and they wouldn't overlap the.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you get like a double shot down the middle or something, I was just.
Yeah,
wondering.
no, they wouldn't be. It's expensive enough as is.
Excessive.
It wouldn't. Yeah, it would be excessive
Further, just do one, yeah.
and not in their best interest.
Okay, alright.
Would you say the name of the chemical is?
Yeah, so I think this year, I know Open Site, Milestone, are popular ones that I see in the mixture almost every year. Keolis hasn't used glyphosate products in years, even though there are glyphosate products on the approved list. The company it's a European company, and they've kind of made a pact to not use glyphosate products. But I do have this year's mixture, and I can tell you. I don't know if I have it actually. I have the list somewhere.
Do we have the safety data sheets?
We'll get, they'll be part of the management plan.
What?
Safety data sheets.
Safety data should be part of the management plan.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna find this, to be honest.
And when that gets published, if it's not in there, I can request it from the
Yeah, it is in the plan.
management plan, yeah.
That one. I'd have to
Wasn't
pull it
always
up on
in
my
there.
laptop.
Alright,
Yeah, the website is super easy to use. It has all the information you would need. It has the vegetation management plan, yearly operational plan, all the maps for all the different towns, and it's very easy to use. You just click it's FDC railroad vegetation. The link is in there if you want to share it with the.
I believe it when I asked for the MDS sheets, I got the link for it and I forwarded it to the
Okay.
commission so they could see it.
Anything else? it will be a miracle if I get these right.
Can I
will
just,
write it as if you
may
get
I
it
just
right.
offer one thing? If we could also too, just get notified, or some sort of information from, Natural Heritage, that they don't have any conditions in regards to theirs, part of the permits as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. No more discussion? Motion to issue a -2 determination? What?
And a positive
Positive.
2B?
And a positive, oh, so
Oh,
do
2A,
do both
sorry,
at the
2A.
same time?
Positive 2A and a, yeah,
Negative, -2 and a positive 2A on the railroad right-of-way vegetation, MBTA, with that one change that,
Yes.
That I'll submit tomorrow or Monday.
So moved.
Second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. All righty, well, thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Yeah. Everyone. Have a good night. Hope I was your last.
Yeah, her
Oh, we don't
meeting's-
mind staying.
Heather
Her
will
her
be,
meeting's pretty short. What?
I said Heather will be quick.
Yeah, that was long last time.
So I will be in touch with you with that.
Yes, I
change.
appreciate, thank you.
And yeah, let me know if there's anything else. I'll also note to forward you the correspondence with any.
Thank you very much.
Thanks everyone.
you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Night.
Drive safe.
I still haven't the slightest idea of what.
What, you disapproved?
I hate to say it on camera, but I don't know.
Determinations can be tricky. There can be multiple points of them. Usually they're pretty cut and dry. This one is more.
It's not cut and dry.
This one's approving a plan that it's correct, as well as that it doesn't do anything because they're just spraying. So it's not altering anything because the railroad bed is a disturbed area.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's what that's for. Railroad's tricky. They technically predate all zoning. They don't
Yes, they
technically have to come to us. They do out of courtesy.
Yeah.
That's nice. We appreciate it. Nobody likes that, but it's what it is. It's why you don't push too hard.
Conservation Office updates.
So Saturday, if any of you do want to come outside in the lovely gloomy weather from 2 to 4 at the high school by the tennis courts, we'll be doing our foraging day for the new pocket forests. Yes, we get to go look for rotten logs and leaf debris in the woods around the high school for the new pocket forest it'll be next to the tennis courts at the high school, and the second location will be at the Sandy Pond School on Sandy Pond at the corner of Westford Road. The planting days for those will be on May 3rd and May 10th. If you cannot make it Saturday and you either do it on a nicer weather day, you can hold those Saturdays in the back of your mind as well. We put it down so the DPW was out, I think today, or they'll be out tomorrow too, to till over the existing grass and dig it all up. So we take the leaf debris and the rotten logs and mushrooms and stuff, we put them down on the pocket forest site to do soil prep, to basically bring organisms and debris and stuff in there to break down and establish the soil health, and then we plant on top of those in a couple months. So we're basically making a miniature biogenome on site with debris and items from the areas close to it.
We did it
A
last
lot of
time.
science involved to that. Yeah, well, unfortunately, with the back of the schoolhouse, because it's private property, we really can't go and take the debris without getting permission from the condo association in West. So that's why we do it at the high school, because they allow us to do it there. And we don't want to go into conservation land and do it because people are digging and traipsing through conservation land and could be disturbing stuff. So we do it at the high school.
Yeah, it was fun last time. We
Yeah,
did it.
I mean, I learned a lot about like the different little mushrooms and stuff
Yeah.
growing on logs, and I was having a blast trying to find them. So it'll be fun this time. The weather should be cold and raw, but it shouldn't be raining at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So as much as I was not happy with the time, it's actually going to work out good.
Yeah, I can't make it this year, but it was,
That's okay, you can make a planting day in May.
yeah, that was fun too.
Yeah, I missed the planting days last time, so this will be a good one. I did the planting day at the middle school, and that was fun. On Tuesday this past week, I did go to the high school, or the middle school, and did a seed sowing day with the 8th graders.
Did a what?
We made, you take a milk jug and you make like a
Oh.
miniature greenhouse and you sow seeds in them. So we did that. Me and Beth Sudemeyer did that with the 8th grade class at the middle school on Tuesday to start sowing native plants for future use in the pocket forests. And there's quite a few students that were pretty engaged with that, along with ones that said they will come on Saturday. I also met another Eagle Scout, Scout who's looking for volunteer hours in possible Eagle Scout project, which is why I do these things. So hopefully she contacts me later on if she needs a project to do. We can find her one to do for the commission.
We can.
Always can find something. This is why I do these things.
So the pocket forest, is that private property for the schoolhouse's private property?
The schoolhouse is private property. The area around it, because you have the condo on Westford Road, the land directly behind this ends up being their property.
But the pocket forest is going.
The pocket forest is on the Sandy Pond School property, and they know what we're doing, and they're very aware of it. And I think it's private / town. It's one of those weird things. It's like housing authority land. It's town but private at the same time.
And the town's just a huge amount of money on renovating it, so.
Yeah, yeah, CPC money, yeah. So it's one of those, like, it's private, but it's town, it's like a nonprofit
Yeah.
type, so, yeah. So that's the other one going, and they're incorporating the existing trees that are on site, same with the one on East Main Street. In that
Not
one.
gonna clear cut trees and then put it in a pocket forest?
No, we don't do that.
Overstory.
Like we do with solar, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know if you've all seen, they've advertised for the Sustainability Committee. Those applications are due, I think it was April 6th. Hope to go to the town for the select board for appointment on April 15th. So if any of you are interested in being the residents on the Sustainability Committee.
The applications are due what?
I believe it's April 6th, I believe.
That's a Sunday.
That must be the 6th.
No, yeah, that is a Sunday.
Don't quote me on it then, maybe it's the 9th? Don't quote me on it, I don't
Okay.
know. I drafted the thing, but I didn't put the dates in, so you'd have to forgive me, I'd have to search.
How often is that gonna meet?
We are hoping to meet once a month.
During the day or night?
It depends on who we get on the commission, on the committee before we can figure out when our meeting times will be. Yeah, April 9th, Wednesday, April 9th are due. So if we get people who are able to meet during the day, I think that would be the majority of our preferences here in Town Hall, is to meet during the day, but if we have residents that can't do that, then we will meet at night if we have to. I'm hoping as close to 4 o'clock as possible, so we're not all here late. And the hope on that is to meet at least once a month, and then do quarterly or yearly reports to the select board, which I will do those. I already have a laundry list of things I'd like to do, but I can't focus too hard on that because it's up to the committee. It's not really up to me on that. What else do we have? The substation on Bishop Road and Park Street is looking to do some vegetation removal prior to the installation of erosion controls. I have a plan from them on that. They want to do phased erosion control installation. I'm going to email the Brian Wentworth. I got the plan from him today. I'm going to email him tomorrow and let him know that I prefer to meet somebody out on site to review it prior to giving that approval, just because I have to see it and understand how it's going to work, just because I'm worried about the wetland replication. I understand the replication is going to be all dug out and planted, but I don't want to see additional erosion happen prior to that without having the erosion controls inspected. So I'm going to try to get that meeting scheduled along with the pre-construction meeting within the next week for that. We had a pre-construction meeting for this West Main Street Bridge replacement yesterday. was a 2-hour-long meeting. They should be looking at starting that project within the next month. So you might see a lot of different entities out there between National Grid for electric and gas, Verizon for telephone, somebody else for Comcast, plus the town for water, sewer, and stormwater, and the fire department. There's lots of utilities in that.
Yep.
So it's a lot of coordination on that aspect. So if you see stuff on there, they are waiting to install the erosion controls in the river and bank before disturbance in the soil, but they will be installing the stormwater erosion controls, the silt sacks and the catch basins before they do work in the roadway itself. So as soon as I hear of when work starts on that, I will let you guys know. But we did have a pre-construction meeting yesterday for that. That was pretty intense. It was a long one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big one. I was surprised. They do have 5 different environmental permits, including ours. So there is a holdup on it with Army Corps and Fish and Wildlife because apparently there is a new bat that is on the endangered watch list that they had to now survey for prior to the start of work.
Hold up with Fish and Game and who else?
Army Corps of Engineers.
So there are bats underneath the thing?
Yeah, a bat they have to survey to make sure they don't have it before they can start theirs. So, which I didn't realize that Army Corps would hold up on a bat that Fish and Wildlife had, but apparently these are things you learn in pre-construction meetings.
Anything else?
Just so you have an update, we met on 71 Sandy Pond on
Monday.
Monday. We will be doing a public forum and just can quote me on it because I didn't put it in my phone. I had it listed on my thing.
On Wednesday, May 18th.
Wednesday, May 18th is the public forum for the 71.
Or, as it will be known, a charrette.
To get the public's input on what they would like to see at 71 Sandy Pond.
6 to 8 p.m.
Yep, 6 to 8 p.m. in Town Hall, upstairs. Yep, so everyone, please make sure you get people out there to come to that, because what happens on that property will be, decided by those who come to that meeting.
But how can I complain about it on Facebook if I go to the meeting? To get my, like,
I know. So just to get the word out on that as best you can, to get an idea of what we're going to put out there. We are working, me and Faith Saunter are working to use up the last of the Scenic and Wild grant for the sign project and creating a new waterway sign in the hopes to have at least 2 of those printed and I want 1 to go at that new site because of that connection that's coming from the railroad all the way down and then under the roadway into Flanagan to show that the waterways are
Where is
connected.
this? A new waterway sign?
A new waterway sign that,
Like our other signs?
like our other sign,
Oh, okay.
this is actually gonna be a map of our
Okay.
watershed, of the town and all of our waterways to show how they are all connected.
And where would that one go?
We're gonna have most likely one either at Peroni Park or somewhere on Grove Pond, and then another one I want to do at the 71 Sandy Pond site. Depending on how much it costs and how much money we have, we might just print 3 and just have an extra 1 or 2 hanging around for when we find a good location to put them, or we just have it as a one to bring for presentations places. I think that'd be the best. It's just whatever we can do to use up the last of the $1,024 we have. I think that's it. The select board should, on their agenda on Tuesday, I'm working with Robert on this along with a member from PACE that brought it to our attention. The rodenticides, the scars, the 2nd generation rodenticides, the scars.
Rodenticides?
Yeah, we're I've been working with Robert to have a policy drafted to have it banned on town property. So that should be going to the select board for their review and either approval or continuation to their next meeting on Tuesday.
This be a policy or?
It'd be a policy, yeah, a policy from the select board to ban the use of the rodenticide called SCARS, the second generation.
SCAR?
SGARS. So it's second generation anti-caligaryl, whatever, rodenticide. And have it banned on town property.
Why? Because those things just kill the rodents, and sometimes the rodents get eaten by flax or eagles, and it just kills them.
They just bleed out,
They
'cause
just
that's
bleed
fun.
out.
Yeah, that's not painful at all. Yeah, so it's at least to just do that on one side. So that was brought to my attention from Pace and during the new house presentation. So to try to get ahead of anything coming before for citizen petition, because it was just a matter of time before it came. So I was able to find at least 5 cities or towns that have a ban already on those, with more on the way for their town meetings. So, and just so you know, the largest town, so Lowell adopted it, and the city of Boston have it as well. And it is on the radar to get put through the state.
It's been for a while.
It has for a while. So it's just a number. There's a number of towns. It's more than 5. It's like 10 that have a ban, and it's just a specific type of rodenticide. It's not all. It's just this one more harmful type, and it's just on the animals that eat the rodents. So
So could we, I mean, is it possible that we could at a town meeting eventually have one that banned throughout town?
it could, to have it across the entire town. The citizens petition deadline is Friday, so to make it for this town meeting, I think it'd be pretty difficult. But this is a step. We get this on the radar for the select board and or Board of Health to make it a full ban. It gets it to the town on town property, and then we can work off of there. And this could be one of those things that the sustainability committee does, where as we look at doing a town-wide ban. But this is a good first step, and that's the point of this whole thing, is trying to make first steps. And when we do the sustainability committee, is to look at things that we have first steps on, or something we want to get a first step on, and then expand from that. So that's what we're working on. So. Trying one little step at a time. It's not much, but it's something. I think that's about it. If anybody else has any questions or any issues of what's going on in town, I can try to fill in for you. Lincoln Hills will be on the planning board meeting for the 8th. I will not be in attendance for that meeting, so if anybody wants to attend in regards to the conservation analysis or open space part of it, that's when that'll be. No. It's gonna be a full house.
Yeah.
Member updates?
2 questions.
Yes.
Okay, one is Oak Ridge Drive, there's that professor's house. We've dealt with that tree that's down in Flanagan Pond. It's still down in the pond.
Yeah.
Do we want that?
No, it stays. If it falls in the pond, it stays.
Okay.
If it naturally falls in there, it stays. The only reason we had the guy take it out is because he dropped it in there.
Right.
But if it naturally falls, no, it stays. But thank you for reminding. It's 145 Sandy Pond. Oak Ridge Drive. I went out there today.
Okay.
The family that lives there, they have a wonderful yard. There's so many trees and vegetation. It's fantastic, but they do need to take several out. So I went out there, met with the arborist. They are going to take, I think, 3 or 4 out of the front, and I think 3 out of the back on the pond side. They're going to do their best to leave a stump for habitat and insect purposes. I would say they'd have to do a 2-to-1 or 1-to-1 replant. I don't think they have room. They have so much vegetation in their backyard. It is absolutely wonderful. They're taking a Norway maple out, so it's not overly horrible to take that one out and then 2 oaks. So.
So you were, that house, you were there just today?
Yes. Oh, is that the one that fell in?
Yeah, that's the one where there's a tree that's been in the water.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Okay. There's so much vegetation in the backyard of 145 Oak Ridge Drive, and
Cool.
I couldn't get over how much vegetation they have in their front yard, and then go in the back, and it's quadruple what you see in the front. It's just you can't even in the summertime. They said they can't even see the pond, and they like it. And I'm like, okay, great, I love this.
Are the trees a danger to their house?
They are. One is the Norway maple and the oak are leaning against the shed. One limb fell off of the oak and damaged the shed roof, and the other one is just it's close to the house and they're afraid of limbs falling down. But they have rhododendrons and other shrubbery and other trees in the back there, and they like all the pines that they have between them and their neighbors, so they're going to leave the rest. And the arborist company I met with, they'll leave a snag. They'll use a crane from the driveway and go over the house to take them out, so they won't even be in the backside of the property with any vehicles. Okay, that's it.
And my second question was, I know at Stratton Hill they've put in a marker for the center line for the roadway.
Okay.
So I was just wondering what was the status on them clearing the conservation restriction with Fish and Game?
We haven't heard anything on either side of that yet. The planning board just signed the plans at their meeting on Tuesday.
Okay, I was just wondering if they.
Yeah, before they do any work, we have to do a pre-construction meeting, and I haven't heard anything as far as, I don't have any deeds for us to sign for taking that open space, which I believe they couldn't do any work until that was approved.
Until the CR was approved?
It's not a CR, remember, we're taking the
Yeah.
land and right, so.
Yeah, yes, it's whatever, till that's completed.
Yeah, so I think until that's complete, they don't do any work, and then we would still do a pre-construction meeting before any work would start either, and we haven't done that yet either.
Nope.
George?
Let's see. Anything happening with Friends of Pine Meadow?
Not at this time.
Okay.
I will send the email out to all of them and see if we can get stuff going. The Easter egg signs are up at Pine Meadow right now.
And on the community Facebook page too.
And in regards to 71 Sandy Pond Road, the Historical Commission requested that a interpretive sign be put up for the history of the area.
Okay.
However, it's mounted. It would be good if, your sign and our sign, we're all together.
Okay. And like a resident, yeah, there's an idea for doing plans out there. So I think we can figure out how we're gonna have it, once we figure out how it's gonna be set up, where we can have an area for signs. Because where I prefer to have ours would be where that edge where it is existing now, the edge of the parking lot goes to the drop off of that wetland area. I'd want ours over there so you can kind of look up and see the wetland marsh, and then look down and see where it goes under the road and over. But I think my hope would be there'd be a plan to have picnic areas over there, and that's where we could have signage. Yes, lots of trees.
If they do it, yeah, I don't want to see that as all just flat and, exposed to sun. That'll be unpleasant looking.
No one wants to go to the town beach all day and have their car parked and get cooled off and then get into a hot car. We need to have trees to keep them cool.
It was nice at the meeting, which I had to go because CPC didn't have a rep, so that was my hat that day. But it was nice. I think it's Ed Orr brought up that really there's no need for creating parking for trailers, boat trailers, because generally people bring canoes or kayaks either in a pickup truck or on the roof, and we really don't want to encourage motorboats being brought in.
We don't have a way to police them.
Yeah.
And because of that pond being a great pond, it has additional restrictions for the state for what's allowed for horsepower size. And if we had the parking or a boat ramp for it, it would just be inviting them.
Oh, yeah.
And then having police being like, well, now you have to police. I can't. I'm like, I don't have my boating license. I don't think the town wants to buy myself or the police department a boat to go after people to do this, so.
So eliminating parking, long parking for boat trailers is really good.
Well, I was under the impression that it was gonna be
Kayak
an
launch.
access for carrying your boat
Yes,
from
exactly.
the park, you know.
And I think that's the majority of
Not
people,
back in a trailer.
I think that's the majority of people just want access to put a canoe or kayak in.
Mhm. Yeah.
And not a back your boat into the water situation.
Right.
Because then you got to figure, then if you did that, even you stood still with a kayak, but if you had an actual boat launch, you have to have a washing station.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, if they do a canoe kayak launch, this wouldn't necessarily be ADA compliant, but it would be older people compliant too. There are some kayak things where you can direct your kayak into this thing and they're railing so you can get up out of it with some grace.
Suggest that to Weston and Sampson?
Well, they're not planning on doing anything around the
They
town
would for
beach.
I think they are for that, just for that aspect of it. They're not redesigning the
Yeah.
Sandy Pond Beach itself, but if we were to include a access for a kayak, they would add that part in, but as Sandy Pond Beach stands as a whole, nothing is changing with that.
And I did have a thought after that if the canoe kayak launch on that side is not part of the 71 project, when the parks comes to CPC for money for the boathouse project, then
Yeah, they would, I not to speak out of turn, but I don't see the 71 Sandy Pond project going forward with any sort of town support without a canoe.
okay.
Sandy
One way or another, it's got to be there.
It does.
Yeah.
That's just my own opinion, but I don't have any say one way or the other. None of the properties are my own.
I have an opinion agreeing with you, as does the illustrious chair.
I think as those that attend the meetings too, but it's up to the town to decide, and up to the parks to decide.
Yeah.
Anything else, George? Mark? There was gonna be a public hearing about tree removal
Oh, yes.
on Stake Hill. They've got them all flagged.
You have a notice on them?
Yep. There's a bunch. And some are obviously just falling down and they're dead falling down, but I was looking across that way this morning and there's woodpeckers in there pecking away on those things, so it'd be nice if some of them could stay. They're not healthy because they're dead, but you know, the bigger, more stronger ones would be nice to keep.
When's the public hearing for that?
April.
The 15th? Or is it the next meeting? Okay. Because I'm gonna most likely to bring up both select board meetings anyway.
It's a select board meeting?
Yes, because
Okay.
they're town trees. So it's either the 1st or the 15th.
Probably the 15th.
Okay. I said I'm most likely to bring up both those meetings anyway. Okay.
Flanagan Pond sign is finally up. Yay. It's there for good too.
Has anyone else seen the otters on Flanagan?
Yes.
They're still active on there?
Yep.
Oh, good. If anyone could get a picture of them and send it to me, that would be great.
You saw Jeff Tillinson's thing.
No, I didn't. I think it'd be nice to have on the town's Facebook to show a picture of the otters on there.
Ticks are out too.
Yeah.
I had one on me today.
I had a mosquito in my car today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Passes unanimously.